Hey guys, what is up? It's the Fast Break Report here, bringing you guys another vlog. I can't believe I'm making two videos in the same day, but I just watched a video by, I think, And One Hoops, and I really couldn't disagree more with the video he made, and I kind of wanted to talk about it, and the title of the video is Why Tanking in the NBA is a Poor Man's Strategy, and he basically goes on to talk about how tanking hasn't worked, and all this other stuff, and he points out how like the Sacramento Kings, the Knicks, and I think Detroit or whatever, there's been a lot of teams who have simply tried tanking and just haven't been good at it. Like they get a top 10 pick and they pick the wrong fucking player and all this other stuff. And I just wanted to talk about it because he basically goes on, like, the whole purpose of the video is why tanking stinks and why it doesn't require any skill and why you know, it's bad for the sport and all this other stuff. And there's certain aspects of it that I agree with, but there's also aspects of it that I simply don't agree with. And I kind of wanted to tackle those in this video because I feel like the league has a really weird misconstrued conception of tanking. And the reason I say that is because tanking is different for every single fucking team, okay? There's different ways to tank. And a lot of people I don't think realize that. Like, yeah, for a long time, like the Knicks sucked, okay? They got back to relevancy by making trades and signing free agents, but that's because they can do that. That's because the Knicks are in New York City, of all places, okay? You look at a team like Sacramento, okay? They're just bad at everything. Even though they're in California, their front office is incompetent. Right now, if you look at the Atlanta Hawks, their front office is incompetent. If you look at the Brooklyn Nets front office, their front office is incompetent. Okay? Sean Marks wants 4 first-round picks for a guy who's 28 and seems to think he's going to get that. Don't get me wrong, Bridges is a great player, but he's not, 4 first-round picks, my guy. It's just, there are certain teams that are what's the word I'm looking for? Geographically challenged. Okay? Like, do you think the Minnesota Timberwolves are a hot free agent destination? You know what I'm saying? Do you think Wisconsin or Indiana is a hot free agent destination? No, they're not. And so for teams like this, when they're playing bad, okay, or their team is just simply not good, the only option they have to fix their roster is to tank. And what I hate the most about tanking is fans like to come out here and act like one season of being shitty is the end of the world. Like, I'll never understand how fans are like, no, we can't ever fucking tank. No. But, like, they'll sit and let a fucking player sit on their fucking bench for 12 years before they're like, okay, yeah, we can move on to him. Like, I will never understand. They will continue, like, I'll never understand the mindset of not being bad, but also not willing to give up on players that are playing like mediocre or are just simply not good. That I will never understand the correlation between, and I'm not gonna try to. But it's just the idea. Tanking is different for every single team in the NBA. And really, what's the purpose of tanking? Right? What's the only purpose of tanking? To get a lottery pick. I'm going to call it a lottery pick. I don't even think it's to get a top 3 pick. If you can get a lottery pick, great. If you can get inside the top 10, even better. Okay? And yeah, there are certain teams out there that fucking suck that, without a doubt, will end up in the top 5 or in the top 10. And if you're a GM, that's where you want to be, because the NBA draft is not about where you pick, it's about who you pick, okay? Nikola Jokic was a second-round pick. I think Draymond Green was a second-round pick. If you look at the San Antonio Spurs, right, they're a team where they can build through the draft because they're great at fucking drafting. I mean, Keldon Johnson, first round, pick 29. DeJounte Murray, first round, pick 29. Malachi Branham, first round, pick 20. Okay, Devin Vassell and Victor Wembanyama are the only guys on that roster at the moment within the past, 5-6 years that they ended up picking up within the lottery. The San Antonio Spurs could get rid of Victor Wembanyama tomorrow for fucking nothing. Within the next I would say 5 to 6 years, they would find their way back to relevance just building through the draft, because that's how good they are. They got a guy, Blake Wesley, on that team that I think if he was sent to another team and just got an opportunity to play point and, like, you know, maybe fix his turnovers and stuff, Blake Wesley would be a really good fucking player for somebody. Now, that's the San Antonio Spurs way of rebuilding a roster. Now, let me walk you through, like, the Indiana Pacers way of rebuilding a roster, because we're a team that's, like, we're hit and miss on draft picks, okay? We drafted Goga Bitadze. It didn't work out for us, but it appears to be working out for fucking Orlando, okay? We drafted TJ Leaf, okay? There's been a lot of guys that we've drafted that simply haven't worked out. Aaron Holiday, okay? Like, we're a team that for a long time just couldn't pick guys in the fucking draft. For a while, we were thinking Isaiah Jackson was going to be shit, and now he's playing well. But it's just the idea. The Indiana Pacers way of rebuilding their team was, we're going to rip it down. We're going to trade Sabonis to the Sacramento Kings for Tyrese Halliburton and Buddy Hield. Okay, Paul George doesn't want to be here anymore. Give me a couple pick swaps and give me Oladipo and Sabonis. And Oladipo and Sabonis ended up becoming really good players for the Pacers. I get it. Oladipo kind of fucked himself. But the fact of the matter is, like, the Indiana Pacers way of building teams has always been to, like, not tank, but also not be great. And if they were stuck in the middle, they were a team that was like, okay, we're going to trade one of our good players for a really promising young player. And they've done that twice now. What they did was they traded, in the Paul George trade, they managed to get Sabonis and Oladipo. But with Sabonis, once they got tired of him and wanted to get rid of him, they at least got Tyrese Halliburton and Buddy Hield out of it. So that's the way that the Pacers tank, right? The way the Pacers tank is, we're going to trade for a young player, and then we're going to use the draft to build around that. Because nobody's going there in free agency unless they're like a player that's maybe getting overpaid to go there. Even with Bruce Brown, right? Like, even just for the Pacers to get fucking Bruce Brown, they had to overpay for him, right? Where that's why tanking exists. That's the whole reason tanking exists. It's the whole reason it's necessary in the NBA. Because these small market teams without a lot of money to spend, okay, don't have the luxury of saying, oh yeah, we're going to sign fucking Steph Curry to 5 years, $250 million. Okay, oh yeah, give me a Luka Doncic for, 5 years, $307 million. Okay, there's a fucking lot of teams in the NBA that cannot do that. Unless you're a team like Boston and has a winning culture, or the Lakers, or Miami, right? You have to be those teams. You either are in a great city or you have a tradition of winning. Those are the only two things you got going for you in this league. Outside of that, every other fucking team is trying to figure out how they're going to win by free agency, drafting, and trades. And that's all they got. Granted, every other team has that, but they're at an advantage. Okay, for teams like the Clippers, right? The Clippers, even with the Paul George, Kawhi Leonard chick. Kawhi Leonard literally told the Clippers front office, I will not come there unless you get Paul George also. Even for teams like Sacramento and the Clippers that are in LA, it's like, unless you have a winning culture, nobody wants to go there. I mean, Philadelphia for fucking years, okay, got top 10 pick after top 10 pick after top 10 pick. Same thing with the Sacramento Kings. But you know what? They suck at drafting. Those are teams that need to do what the Pacers did. Go out, trade, one of their star players to get themselves a good young player that they know is very promising, and then develop him. The Pacers got Andrew Nembhard. The Pacers are getting better at drafting as well. They got Andrew Nembhard. They've drafted Benedict Mathurin. They drafted Isaiah Jackson. Oscar I'm going to say this wrong, but Oscar Tshiebwe. I think it's Oscar Tshiebwe. But he was an undrafted dude and was the lead rebounder in the NCAA a couple of years ago. And he's a guy that the Pacers are finally giving a shot on. The thing is, right, tanking looks different for every single NBA team. And to say that it's a poor man's strategy, I would agree. It is. Is it lazy? Yes, it is. But is it necessary? Absolutely. It is absolutely necessary. Because there are teams, as I said, that just don't have the luxury of being a winning culture or having a big market. And if your team's like that, even Miami, like Miami is a team that everybody wants to go to now. Why? Winning culture, great city, great front office. Like, if you look at Atlanta, right? Do you think anybody wants to go play for the fucking Atlanta Hawks right now? Do you think anybody wants to go play for the fucking Brooklyn Nets, who have been terrible since inception, by the way? Like, the Brooklyn Nets front office is so fucking incompetent that they managed to fuck up a trio of Kyrie Irving, James Harden, and Kevin Durant. And they've lost all of those trades. I think they lost every single fucking trade. They lost the James Harden trade. They lost the Kevin Durant trade. I get it. Kevin Durant is Kevin Durant. There's only so much you can get for him. They lost the Kyrie Irving trade. They don't even have any fucking draft picks. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a team that, like, how Sean Marks still has a job is baffling to me. Like, how do you trade James Harden for Ben Simmons? Like, Daryl Morey coerced you over the phone. Like, Daryl Morey went from asking for draft picks for Ben Simmons to giving them up to get James Harden away from the Brooklyn Nets. I mean, those two front offices, the Atlanta Hawks and the Brooklyn Nets, that is what incompetence looks like. They don't really draft well. I mean, fuck, even the contract extensions they give people in Atlanta. I get you gotta overpay for guys, but DeAndre Hunter's making double what Aaron Nesmith makes, and I would argue Aaron Nesmith is the better basketball player. His extension was 4 years, $33 million. You know what DeAndre Hunter's was? I think it was 4 years, $120 million. And then, because they're so bad at extending players, they traded away John Collins, who they gave a max extension to the Utah Jazz for a second-round pick and Rudy Gay. This is what incompetence looks like. Tanking is required for these teams, but if their front offices fucking suck, it doesn't matter. Does tanking have a purpose? Absolutely. Tanking is how teams build out their roster. Tanking is how they add talent. Part of tanking is hitting reset. You're looking for young players. You're looking for your franchise player. You're looking to, even if you're looking to do a retool like Indiana, you are still, if you are rebuilding, you are looking for your franchise player. And I would be honest, I would say at least half of the teams in the league are in that boat. Like, even Chicago, they got DeRozan, they got Levine. They recently discovered Kobe White, but they're another team that is incompetent. Chicago is a team, drafted Patrick Williams. He hasn't been that great. I mean, they drafted, who's the other guy? What the fuck is his name? I can't think of it, and I know it, but I can't think of it. Give me a second. There's, like, the point is, Chicago has always been, Dalen Terry, okay? Julian Phillips has been alright. Ayo Dosunmu has been alright. But it took Kobe White fucking years to come onto the scene. I mean, and I just think to myself, this is a team that if you look at it, you know, Javonte Green, he's aight. I'm not going to call him amazing. But Torrey Craig, yeah, they got Alex Caruso. Alex Caruso was a big deal for them. DeMar DeRozan was a big deal for them. The trade for Nikola Vucevic was an alright trade. It was a big deal for them. And yeah, Chicago decided to take that rebuild route as far as like trading for guys, right? But the thing is, tanking is absolutely necessary in the NBA or any league, depending on what you think about it, because it's the only way that these small market teams can have any chance of getting back up top, regardless of what you think about it. You can think tanking is the fucking most pussy way out, and it is. Do you think, let me ask you something, when a team decides to tank, do you think they're like, yeah boys, can't wait to tank, can't wait to have a whole season of fucking losing, can't wait to explain this to the owner, you know what I'm saying? Like, there, not a single GM, owner, head coach, scout, trainer, team doctor, what have you, okay, even the fucking cheerleaders, okay, do you think they go into a season of tanking with excitement? No, they're putting motherfuckers out there to see, like, yeah, we're gonna lose a lot of games, but who on this team is worth keeping? That's the whole purpose of tanking. It is a reevaluation period of your team. And as much as people don't like tanking, tanking is hitting hard reset on your team after anywhere from 3 to 5 years worth of disappointment. Sometimes 4. If you go 3 to 4 years without any type of success, usually teams tank. I mean, look at Orlando, man. Like, Orlando's been trying for years to get back into the picture, right? Finally, they shocked the world. They did probably the smartest thing in the world. They shocked the world, and instead of taking Jabari Smith Jr., they took Paolo Banchero, and it has worked out fucking phenomenal for them. Yeah, I get it. Not everybody hits on draft picks, but it all depends on how you scout and how you draft. So to say like tanking doesn't work, yeah, you know what? Tanking doesn't work if you don't have a front office that knows what they're doing. If you don't have scouts that know what they're doing. If you don't have scouts that don't do their fucking homework. Or you have a GM who just has his head so far up his own ass that he can't see daylight. You know, it looks like the Pistons finally got it right. Jalen Duren will be one of the best centers in the NBA in the future. Okay, look at the Charlotte Hornets. Yeah, LaMelo Ball has been injured, but had they never tanked, you think they were getting LaMelo Ball? You think they would have gotten Brandon Miller? They drafted Miles Bridges, who, regardless of what you think about him off the court, has been a pretty fucking good basketball player. Mark Williams is really good. Mark Williams is one of the best defensive centers in the league, and nobody recognizes it. One of the best defensive centers in the game, and nobody recognizes it because he plays in Charlotte. So, do you think this team gets prospects like that by saying, yeah, we're just going to try every year, get our ass kicked and not make any adjustments? You know what I'm saying? Like, either way, I get that the aspect here is trying to win, but sometimes you got to fold it. Sometimes, you know, even in poker, you got to fold your fucking hand. You don't just sit there and continue to get your ass kicked and lose your money. You know? So that's my whole point about this, is the idea that, like, I understand people hate tanking, and I understand why people don't like it. As a fan, I understand why people don't like it, but it has a fucking purpose. And for people to come out and say teams should never tank, okay, well, I mean, unless you think teams are going to constantly find Nikola Jokic in the second round and that they should go out and piss their, like, they should just do what the Atlanta Hawks do. Because I'm going to tell you what, man, a team that refuses to tank ends up like the Brooklyn Nets. A team that refuses to tank ends up like the Atlanta Hawks. A team that refuses to tank ends up like the Chicago Bulls. A team that refuses to tank ends up like the fucking Indiana Pacers from, 2014 up until 2018, 2019, when they finally decided it was time to cut ties with some of our guys and bring in, you know, a young, talented player at a different position. That's why I don't get it. Like, yes, I understand nobody likes to see it, but it is in fact an incremental part of this game. You know, the way that I see it is, like, if you're a fan, like, I'm a Falcons fan, man. Like, a lot of people don't know this, but when it comes to football, okay, even though I'm in New York, I love the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons are my football team. They're the football team that I choose to watch. Do you think I enjoy watching them go to the Super Bowl, lose 28-3, and then have to come back and, like, all of a sudden Julio Jones ain't the guy that he used to be, Matt Ryan's not the player that he used to be, Devontae Freeman's not the player that he used to be, our head coach Kyle Shanahan decides he's going to go be the head coach for the 49ers. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you think I appreciate that? As a Falcons fan? No, I fucking hate it. I fucking despise it, but I understand that it's part of the game. I understand that if the Atlanta Falcons ever want to get back to the Super Bowl, hitting reset is something they have to do. So, I'm sorry for the tangent, but I get so tired of hearing this. Oh, tanking's a poor man's strategy. Tanking's the loser way out. Well, sometimes you got to be a loser before you're going to be a fucking winner, okay? Michael Jordan lost, 9 times before he won his first championship? And after they drafted Scottie Pippen? Sometimes you have to lose if you want to win. And I like to think of it also as this way. There's no such thing as losing. Only gaining experience. I'm gonna let you guys know, this is the last thing and then I'm getting off. I'm going to tell you right now, okay? I play in a pool league, okay? Every Tuesday night. Every single fucking Tuesday night, I take my ass down to my favorite bar and I play pool against motherfuckers that are better than me, against motherfuckers that are worse than me. And this past session, we had 2 of our better players leave our team. Okay, 2 of them. One of them was the second best player on our team. The other was a guy who was like, he was good, he was all right, he wasn't great, but both of them left because they wanted more playing time. They wanted to play more matches, okay? So me and the team captain, because I used to be a team captain, sitting around like, what the fuck are we gonna do? Okay? Well, I went 4-12 last session. Okay? I played 12 matches and I only won 4. Luckily, though, I happen to know some people, and the team captain knows some people, right? I got one of my friends who I used to work with at a past job who's played in the league to join. He's a solid player, right? And I got more playing time. Steven's, my team captain Steven, his nephew, who's a high schooler, was given an opportunity. He hasn't lost a fucking match. He's 4-4. I went from 4-12 to now I'm 2-4. Right? We're in 3rd place when we were expected to be in dead last. The team that went to Vegas the past 2 years in a row, guess what? They're in last place. So just goes to show that not only does, sometimes rebuilding help. I mean, right now we're in 3rd place, but it's just the idea, like, we finished last session in 7th. So it's still very early, but like a lot of people are getting more opportunity. We're bringing different people in, and we lost one of our best players and somehow still managed to find a way to come out on top with bringing new people in, trying different shit out. Instead of, putting a 6 against a 7 or a 6 against a 5, maybe we'll play a 3 against a 6 just to try it out and see what happens. Sometimes you win. It's just a matter of like getting outside your element, trying different things. But that's what basketball teams do. That's what all professional sports do. Whenever you're rebuilding, you are doing you are taking a hard look at yourself in the mirror and saying, okay, what is working and what isn't. So anyway, thanks for coming to my TED Talk. A like helps me out. Subscribe if you guys want to see more on the Fast Break Report. And I'm out of this motherfucker. Peace, guys.